Hi, I'm Gina. I turned 18 the other day. If you wanna congratulate me, subscribe to the Private Diary channel. Bon appetit to everyone who likes to watch our videos while they eat. Let's get to it! My mother and I had always been poor as church mice, but several weeks ago, she ran into my room and squealed with joy. Gina! I'm getting married! Wow, really? Who is the lucky guy? She said that a rich businessman had proposed to her after only a couple of dates. At first, I was happy for her. However, as soon as I found out the name of her future husband, my blood ran cold. Is Mr. Simons gonna be my stepfather? Oh no. Mr. Simons had a daughter my age called Rose. There were nasty rumors going around about their family. Everyone knew that Rose and her father were mean and arrogant rich people. I was wary of my new relatives. However, when we moved into their penthouse, I realized I couldn't have been more wrong about them. My stepfather and stepsister turned out to be wonderful people. They treated my mother and me very well. Rose said that all those rumors about them had been spread by people who envied them. I breathed a sigh of relief and enjoyed my new life. Soon after the wedding, Mr. Simons organized a safari in Botswana for our family. A safari is a tourist trip during which you can observe wild animals in their natural habitat. I was on cloud 9. Botswana's nature captivated me. We checked into a 5-star hotel and then a guide drove us around the reserve and showed us tons of stunning views and animals. Unfortunately, soon, things took a wild turn. In the evening, my mother and stepfather seemed on edge when we got to the hotel and said we needed to talk. That's how I found out that during the safari, I had been noticed by a local guy called Percy. He had fallen for me so hard that he found my parents and asked them for my hand in marriage. You want me to get married? Nice one. Gina, I'm afraid this isn't a joke. It turned out Percy was a rich heir to a diamond empire, and Mr. Simons was on the verge of bankruptcy because of his debts, so my marriage could become the solutions to our money problems. What? I don't want to get married for convenience? Please do this for all of us. To convince me, they showed me a photo of Percy. I'll be honest, the guy was gorgeous. Besides, I really wanted to help my family. After all, my stepfather and Rose were so kind to my mother and me. Anyway, I agreed to meet Percy. There was always a chance I'd fall head over heels in love with and want to marry him. The next evening, we all went to Percy's house so we could formally meet. When we were passing by the local boys playing soccer, a ball suddenly landed at my feet. I fell behind to give it back to the kids. Thank you! You're a tourist, right? For now, but I might soon marry Percy, the heir to the Diamond Empire. At the mention of Percy's name, the boy shuddered and turned gloomy. Something wasn't right. Percy's scary! He's mean, cruel, and greedy. Grandma told me he's been married many times, but all his wives disappeared under mysterious circumstances. What? Their words sent shivers down my spine. Everyone in the city thought my future fiancé was a monster. My heart sank. I caught up to my parents and told them I changed my mind about meeting Percy. To my surprise, Rose rolled her eyes at me. I knew this beggar would ruin our plan. A plan? What are you talking about? Okay, Gina, you would have found out the truth sooner or later, so listen up. My stepfather told me he had a long-standing agreement with Percy's father. In return for getting assistance with his business, Mr. Simons promised his daughter would marry Percy. However, my stepfather knew about the Diamond Heir's bad reputation and did not want his precious Rose to go anywhere near him, so he came up with a plan. We didn't specify which one of my daughters would marry Percy. I only married your mom so that you could marry Percy and save us from debt. So that's what this trip was all for? And here I thought we were a real family like a gullible fool. They had been using me. But the worst thing was that Mom had known about it. Mom, why are you doing this to me? I'm sorry, Gina, but I'm tired of being poor. And Mr. Simons paid a fortune to marry me. This is for the best. That's not the way I see it. I shouted that I wouldn't marry Percy and ran away from those traitors. My mom and stepfather chased after me. I didn't know the area, so I ran without a destination in mind. Soon, it got dark, and I found myself in a savanna. A growl suddenly came from behind the bushes. I was afraid it was a wild lion. Terrified, I ran out onto the road and was blinded by the headlights of an SUV. A guy got out of the car, saw me shaking, and offered me help. Don't be afraid. I'm Abrin. Get in. I'll take you to a safe place. I was desperate enough to listen to him. In the safety of the car, I burst into tears and told him I had run away from my parents because they wanted me to marry a scumbag called Percy. Percy? What a coincidence. What do you mean? Abron said he was an undercover agent, and he had been trying to put Percy behind bars for years. I know that he illegally hides the mine diamonds in his house and then sells them, but I don't have enough evidence to arrest him. Abron offered me a deal. I was to become Percy's fiancée, gain his trust, and gather evidence against him. I could arrest him then, and you wouldn't have to marry him. That didn't sound so bad. We shook hands, and the next morning I came to Percy's office. He broke into a sly smile. Well, if it isn't the runaway bride, have you come to your senses? Yeah, sure. All I want is to be with you and yada yada yada. Anyway, where are we going to live? Percy's eyes lit up. We got into a car and his assistant drove us. Not to a posh mansion, but to a tiny decrepit house. This will be our home now. Do you like it? Are you kidding me? This dump must be full of rats. Watch your mouth, Gina. You can't talk to me like that. Yeah, the rumors weren't lying. Percy really was an incredibly greedy and rude guy. I wanted to put him in his place, but got a grip of myself and smiled sweetly. Percy couldn't get suspicious. My mom, stepfather, and Rose were overjoyed when they found out I had agreed to get married after all. I was mad at them and didn't tell them anything about my deal with the undercover agent. Soon enough, Percy would get arrested and all their plans would collapse like a house of cards. I couldn't wait to see their faces then. Things went from bad to worse. While my spoiled relatives were chilling in a 5-star hotel, I was stuck in that creepy house. Every day was a challenge. The so-called groom demanded I work around the house and behave myself. He didn't give me any money. No wonder all his previous wives disappeared. The poor things must have run for the hills the first chance they got. I bravely endured it all. Whenever Percy left for work, I searched the house and looked for clues. Soon, I found several stuffed animals with diamonds hidden in them. That's where Percy kept them. I took a picture of my find and sent it to Abron. He texted back in seconds. Well done, Gina. Keep up the good work. We're going to arrest that bastard soon. In that difficult time, my only joy was hanging out with the local kids. When Percy wasn't around, I played soccer with them and treated them to homemade apple pies. Dig in before it gets cold. One day I witnessed something very suspicious. Percy and his assistant loaded a large batch of toys with diamonds into a car. I thought they were going to sell them illegally and filmed them. Do everything you did last year. You can count on me, boss. The assistant left with the toys, and I ran to Abron and showed him those pictures. This is exactly what I need. I'll carry out a special operation, and we'll arrest Percy. I was so proud of myself. The criminal would finally go to jail, and my mom, stepfather, and Rose would be left with nothing. It was their fault. They shouldn't have used me. As I walked, I thought about Abron. Maybe when it was all over, he would ask me out? A girl could dream. But then I suddenly saw something weird. Percy's assistant was knocking on doors in a poor neighborhood and handing out those toys. What the heck? I came up to him and asked him what was going on. Every year, Percy anonymously donates diamonds to those in need. He doesn't want anyone to know it's his doing, though. Why? He spreads nasty rumors about himself so that his competitors wouldn't know he's a kind man. Like the one about his missing wives. It's a total lie. It couldn't be! So he wasn't illegally selling diamonds, but giving them away to ordinary people. It made me see him in a different light. I still didn't want to marry Percy, but I couldn't let an innocent man get arrested. I ran to Percy's house to warn him and thwart Abron's special operation. Wait! This is all a misunderstanding! Except neither Abron nor the cops were there. Percy stared at me in surprise. A misunderstanding? What are you talking about? It's nothing. Excuse me for a moment. I stepped aside and called Abron to tell him Percy had committed no crimes, but his phone was turned off. Then Percy suddenly came up to me and gently took my hand. He beamed at me. Gina, there's something you should know. I treated you terribly because I heard that Mr. Simon's daughter was a selfish and spoiled girl. I was just testing you, but you were so sweet and patient and even got along with the local kids. You passed the test. I promise from now on, you'll want for nothing. I froze in shock. Percy must have heard the rumors about Rose and thought they were about me. After that, he brought me to his real home. It was huge and beautiful. I will give you anything you want. I want you to be happy and always smile. Tears welled up in my eyes. Percy turned out to be a kind and honest guy. He took better care of me than my own mother and made my heart flutter. I decided to stay with him. We began preparations for the wedding. Soon, he invited my insufferable family to dinner. As soon as Rose saw the necklace my fiancé had given me, she started pouting. She realized that Percy was actually kind and generous and decided to steal him. Percy, you should have married me! Gina never loved you! She was secretly gathering evidence to send you to jail and get all your money! She showed him the photos and videos I sent to Abrin. How did she even get her hands on them? Percy looked at me sadly and said he was disappointed. I was wrong about you, Gina. I'm sorry, but I can't be with someone I don't trust. He broke off our engagement and promised to marry Rose. I didn't even get a chance to explain myself before he kicked me out of the house. The saddest thing was that I really had fallen for him. I felt gutted. Well, at least I could go back to my normal life. On the day of Percy and Rose's wedding, I saw Abrin talking about something with my stepfather. Did they know each other? I cornered Abrin and asked him where he had been and why he had been talking to Mr. Simons. Gina, it's nothing personal. He paid me to pretend I was an undercover agent. He said my mom and stepfather had come up with that plan. They had guessed I would try to escape and sabotage my wedding. That's why they sent Abrin to convince me to become Percy's fiancé and help him gather the evidence. It made my blood boil! But I wasn't going to get back at anyone. I just wanted Percy to know the truth, so I found him right before the wedding and told him my parents had planned everything that happened, from beginning to end. Mr. Simons adopted me just so that I would marry you. All he, Mom, and Rose want is your money. Do whatever you want with that information. My conscience is clear. Goodbye, Percy. I went home and tried to forget about everything that happened. I rented a small apartment and got a job as a cook. Since Rose decided to marry Percy, neither my stepfather nor my mother needed me anymore. Mr. Simons divorced my mom. Soon, she came over and tried to make up with me, but I told her to go away. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm not ready to forgive you. I liked my new life. Still, it was a shame such terrible people as Rose and her father got their way. Or rather, that's what I thought until I found out Mr. Simons had gone bankrupt. Had Percy called off the wedding after all? One day I came back home to a parcel by the door. There was a huge diamond in it. Then I heard a warm voice behind me. Will you go out with me? That's what we should have done before getting married. Percy? I froze in amazement and didn't know what to say. I'm glad that justice has been served. But I'm still hesitating. Do you think we'll be happy together? What do you think I should do now? Write your answer in the comments down below and don't forget to press like.